Start, of course, with Nuno Espirito Santo. You just said there, Nuno or New Yes. Is it too early to even ask the question, or from what you've seen from Tottenham over the last couple of games, of course, you think against Chelsea it was never going to be easy, but the one against Palace really hurt them?
Yeah, that was a poor performance. I'm sure any Spurs fans out there will be looking at it and say Chelsea was always going to be difficult because we know how good Chelsea are. But it's far too soon to think about, even thinking about, is he good enough? I know the style of football might not be what every Tottenham fan wants, but it's manager of the month. Not many people get manager of the month and suddenly you're calling for the head after 5 games, or you're not happy with what he's doing. I mean, the Palace game was disappointing. He went with a different formation that game. He went with like a diamond in midfield, with Ali top of the diamond, Skip at the bottom, with Winks and Højbjerg either side, with Kane and Lucas. There's no Son, wasn't there? He wasn't available. But then he went back to a 4-3-3 against Chelsea, and they started pretty well. I know Chelsea.
First 20 they were
You
good.
can argue Chelsea didn't start very well.
Yeah.
But second half they got overrun, and Chelsea were. But Chelsea are going to do that to a lot of sides. They are top class this year. They're going to go very, very close to win the Premier League.
Let me ask you, Spurs 7th at the moment, but only by a point, because of course United and Chelsea and all that, they're on. Oh no, hold on, I'm going mad. Let me find out what that is. But just quickly, what I was going to ask you about Spurs is, Tottenham, they're 4 points off top 4, right? If they lose to Arsenal by I think 2 or more goals this weekend, they swap places, and it wasn't that long ago. Tottenham were top and Arsenal were at the bottom. There was 9 points between the two. With the way that Tottenham play, with the way that Arsenal play, with the way that both sets of fans are, and of course Arsenal fans have had lots of success in recent years and Tottenham have had none for a long, long time, where should Tottenham be aiming now? Because of course you look at the top of the Premier League a few weeks back and they were top, and I think you ask any Tottenham fan, they would have said, well, we're not going to finish there, obviously. No. But they will be looking for top 5, I think it's fair to say.
Realistically, yes.
But from what you've seen so far, and it's early, with the manager they've got and the players they've got, realistically, what should Spurs be looking at this season?
Well, I call it 2 leagues at the top now. I think the top 4 is the top 4. I don't think no one can argue a team that could really push into there. And then behind them, you'll have Everton, West Ham, you'll have Spurs, you have Arsenal, teams like that trying to compete all for 2 spaces, probably 5th and 6th. So that's what they're going to be aiming for.
So have they got a manager that can do that with Nuno? Is that the right level of manager to get them to that level in the Premier League?
He probably weren't their first choice, but that was pretty obvious. But he's done pretty well at Wolves. I know he at the end of his career at Wolves, he wasn't so good. But I think that first season he was there, really the players played for him. Let's remember they lost 2 really key players, Jimenez and Jota. Out their side, and they were the main people in there. So I think you just got to give them a chance. I mean, look, the Palace game was poor. I think most people would expect that. First half, as you rightly said, 20 minutes was they had a bit of a go against Chelsea. Didn't get the goal when they needed it. But second half, they got blown away by a much better side. I think most fans will walk away from that stadium saying, well, this Chelsea side will go very, very close to winning the Premier League. So they're not in with him at the moment. They're miles away from Chelsea, Man United, Man City. Very similar to Arsenal. So this game of the weekend is vital for both sides. Massive game. North London derby.
One of the questions we're going to ask Spurs fans is, Nuno or New Yes, right? Now, I personally think it's way too early to make any call on any manager that's just turned up at the club. But I just wonder if Spurs fans would have seen enough just sounds wrong. I mean, we've only played 5 games. But
I think it's too soon. He got manager of the month. They beat Man City first game.
I know, but in the last 2 games, the way they've played and the manner in which they've been defeated, that must...
Did you expect a lot at Chelsea? I didn't expect a lot.
I'll tell you what I didn't see in the second half. That was no bite. That was no team spirit. That was no wanting to win. They were quite lacklustre, certainly more so. The way the game ebbed and flowed towards the second half as well, I just thought there was no one in that Spurs team that...
Well, people would argue as well, why is Harry Kane on the left-hand side? He's the main man. Why don't you play... Son usually plays out there. Why has he changed Kane and Son? I don't get that, to be honest with you. Kane was coming very deep as usual. Ali's got his opportunity again, didn't have a great game, but he's certainly got a chance now. I just think their ball player and midfield they're missing, aren't they? I mean, they're getting enough service to Son. We all know Son and Kane, when they're on form, they could be in most sides because that's how good they are.
Okay, let me ask you 2 questions.
That service.
Let me ask you 2 questions. Where should Spurs finish this season? Give me a number.
Well, they've got to finish 5th or 6th.
Okay.
Which is a decent season for them.
Second question, is Nuno the man to get them there?
Well, at the moment, I've certainly got to give him at least to Christmas to see what
from what you've seen, do you think he's the right man?
I think after the first 3 results, yes, I do. I think he's done okay. I mean, certain bits of what he's picking, the personnel with what he's ticking is he's trying to find out his best team at the moment. He's trying to find out the best formation. As you rightly said, he played a diamond against Palace. He played 4-3-3 against. So it'd be interesting to see what he does the weekend against Arsenal, because I'm sure he'd be looking at Arsenal. And it's
a massive game.
They had a lot of attacking players on the pitch against Burnley. He went for it a little bit. Odegaard was playing. Smith Rowe was out there. Saka was out there. They probably only had one holding player was Partey. So whether he goes the same system again, being at home, I don't know. But it's a massive game for both sides.
It's funny, isn't it, how the tide has turned? Because after the first 3 games, Spurs would have been back.
I was getting hammered. I didn't go out. I'm going out a bit more now, Andy. I'm venturing out. All my Tottenham mates will give me pelters.
Arsenal will fancy it more than ever, and Spurs will so not be looking forward to this game.
Well, yeah, but it's a big game, a turning point for both sides. I mean, look, we can't say it's a turning point, but it's a big statement if you can beat your North London rivals, where you'll be competing with them as well. You're going to be around the sort of same areas them going forward with the Everton, with West Ham. You know, you could argue other teams might be pushing into that as well. Brighton, what a start they've had to the Premier League. So can they keep it going? So I think it's really going to be an amazing season. But I do put them in 3 or 4 different leagues. 3 leagues probably down in the Premier League. You put the top 4.
Yeah, I agree.
One underneath who's going to come to about 9th or 10th maybe. And then and then the rest probably. Okay. Yeah.